Happy weekend, ladies and gents, from Kelly's on Main Street, Hyannis, your go-to destination for all your game day libations. And this is the Free Range Sports Press presents Gamblin' Ramblins with Mike Gannon, ensuring both your kneecaps and your bankrolls don't go broke this NFL season. I am your host, Wesley Sykes. To my left here, Mike Gannon. And before we dive into Week 3, let's take a look back really quick at our Week 2 standings, see how we stacked up against everything, huh?
Well, I mean, it was a little rough for you, Wes. I got to be honest with you. You know, you got the Pats. We both got the Pats, but you know, big 2-1, so a 3-1 total on my side, and 1-3 total on your side. Yeah. So you know, hopefully you do a little bit better this week.
I do too, but you know, I got a good feeling. There's only one place to go. That's up. But, you know, looking back to last week, again, before we dive into Week 3 here, something happened in Week 2 that never had happened in NFL history. And I think that's a big reason why I lost out on so many picks last week. Because all 5 of these following teams, the Buccaneers, the Jaguars, the Redskins, the Browns, and the Raiders, all won for the first time in NFL history on the same Sunday. Now, those are some of the whipping boys that we identified last week that we thought we could be easy pickings. Not so much this week.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, Manziel proved me wrong. Yeah. And although he's going right back to the bench now, you know, which is funny to me. But, you know, and who would have thought, honestly, who would have thought what Oakland did to that Baltimore defense, you know? And we'll get into that a little bit later on with our picks from this week. But it was a weird week last week, you know, and Vegas definitely cleaned up last week, I would have to say, you know.
For sure, yeah. And, you know, one thing, as we head into Week 3 here, the first game that we will do each and every week will be the hometown Patriots. And as the 2015 Tom Brady Revenge Tour takes its next stop back home in Foxborough against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where the Patriots are giving 13.5 points to Jacksonville, who won last week against the Miami Dolphins, thwarting one of my picks last week. Yeah.
I love how you label it Tom Brady's Revenge Tour. You know, that's a nice little wrinkle into this. But 13.5 points, though. Yeah. 13.5 points, you know. You know, is this a letdown game? They're going into the bye week on Week 4 and then coming back with 2 huge games, Dallas and Indy. With all that being said, I'm going to have to stick with the Patriots and even on the spread and covering it. And, you know, I'm going to go with the Pats.
Yeah, I mean, you were the magic man last week in Week 2. I'm going to be riding your coattails as well, taking the Patriots minus 13.5. I don't see it as much of a letdown, although that could be a possibility. Like you said, there's nothing really for the Patriots to gain this week. If they blow out the Jaguars, that's what they're supposed to do. If they hang tight and don't cover, then they're going to be dogged for the next 2 weeks about how they let down against the Jaguars and what's going to happen there. But I think the key is going to be, you know, again, putting the pressure on a young quarterback like they did Tyrod Taylor. I expect the defense to kind of come out fired up after having a letdown in the fourth quarter. I don't think that should be the case this week. Moving on to my first pick of the week, it's a team that really dominated on Monday Night Football against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm talking about the New York Jets, as they are giving 2.5 points at home to the 0-2 Philadelphia Eagles. To me, this is a defense that was a bit overlooked despite all their additions in the offseason. Everybody talked about the additions of Miami and Buffalo Bills in the offseason, in particular to the AFC East. But this team here is probably the most complete team on defense, if not in the AFC, maybe in all of the NFL. I think they are the real deal when you talk about their front seven, as well as Darrelle Revis, you know, as evidence of his 3 turnovers last week against Andrew Luck. I think that he just kind of has everyone else in the secondary fall into place. Everybody's job gets so much easier, as New England Patriot fans saw last year. You know, they can slow down that up-tempo offense of Sam Bradford. DeMarco Murray tweaked his hamstring. We don't know about his status heading into Sunday. But I'm not sure whether he is a go or not, if even that matters with 11 rushing yards through the first 2 weeks.
But I'm not giving the Jets that much credit yet, okay? To me, this game is more about how bad the Eagles are and how bad they have looked so far, you know. And where is this Chip Kelly offensive, you know, genius? Bring Sam Bradford in. He's been terrible. They're not using DeMarco Murray. I mean, the guy was, until he broke his arm last year, was trying to get 2,000 yards. Right. And as you just mentioned, 11 yards so far this season. I just don't understand it. But the Jets have something going. As usual, hanging around in the AFC East. Looks like they'll really be the only challenge for the Patriots, you know, this year. Fitzpatrick has done well. He just got that vote of confidence that he will be staying the starter.
You know, and I think moving forward, while we agree on this one, I think we both agree that we won't agree on everything moving forward. So I think that's you can take that one to the bank. But Mike, your first pick of the week is Tampa Bay plus 6.5 on the road against the Houston Texans. Mike, what do you like about Jameis Winston and the Bucs?
Well, again, just like I said about the Jets and the Eagles game, I'm not sure this is so much about Winston and the Bucs as it is about the Houston Texans. They've been a little bit disappointing. You know, you have J.J. Watt there, and the guy is still a beast. I understand that, but it's actually painful having to watch Ryan Mallett play quarterback.
He was supposed to be the best backup in the league a few years ago, right?
That was a tough week last week, you know, having to watch that game. And, you know, I had a buddy tell me that he took Houston in a pool, which unfortunately he lost, and he literally wrote to me on text message saying that it made him have to watch that horrible performance by Ryan Mallett, you know, because he couldn't, he had to hang on to see if he could get it. So anyways, Ryan Mallett, still no Arian Foster. I picked up Blue on a couple of fantasy leagues, you know, just like I did D'Angelo Williams. Sure. D'Angelo Williams helped me out. Blue has done nothing. You know, they have that running back by committee until Foster gets here, which isn't a strong committee, you know, let's be honest with you. Just overall not a strong team. You know, I don't know if Tampa can go in there on the road and win, but 6.5 points is just a little bit too much to me. It's not a knee-jerk reaction off of, you know, Tampa's win last week. It really isn't. Like I said, it's just more about, you know, can Houston cover the 6.5 points? Houston may very well win the game. I just think the spread's a little too high. Even Ryan Rutledge admits he can't watch this this team anymore, right? And Jimmy Clausen, I'm actually kind of stuttering a little bit because I don't know what to say about how bad Chicago is. I've never liked them in general. I don't like Jay Cutler. We talked about this last week. But I agree with all your points. I would like to see Seattle get Jimmy Graham more involved. Okay.
I think all fantasy owners would too.
Right. I don't even have him on fantasy. I just think from, you know, what do you make that trade for if you're not going to use him, you know?
Heading into your second pick of the week, you like Cincy plus 2.5 on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Yep. What do you like about that game, Mike?
Well, again, we're going to talk about, go back to last week a little bit, how I talked about Atlanta needing to make that road presence and be a good road team to take that next step. Feel the same way about Cincinnati and Andy Dalton. I mean, trust me. Yeah. Dalton does not instill a high level of confidence in me, you know.
You don't trust the Red Rocket?
No, I don't. But he, you know, Cincinnati, though, to me right now is a more complete team than Baltimore. And people may disagree with that, but Terrell Suggs was a big loss, it turns out, for the Baltimore Ravens, you know?
And not even just on the field. I think just in terms of leadership and the locker room presence and that veteran presence that he brings to the team.
Yeah, sure. So I just think that, again, like I said, about Atlanta, I think this is a statement week for Cincinnati. Week 3 could really be a must-win game for Baltimore. I know we've discussed that, and this may be a pick that we don't agree on, but I do know that it's a must-win for Baltimore. But on the other side of it, Cincinnati can win this game, go 3-0 overall, really take that lead in the division. Baltimore's now 3 games back, you know, and so, again, maybe not must-win for Cincy, but it can really put a big gap in between them and Baltimore, and you know that they would love to do that. Go into Baltimore and take care of that. You know, they're getting 2.5 points. I could easily see this being a field goal game. If it's a field goal game for Baltimore, I lose. I think it could be a field goal game for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is the first game that we will disagree on. I was on the fence almost picking Baltimore in this as one of my 3 picks of the week. I ended up shying away from it because I just like Seattle and the minus 15 way too much for maybe I'm crazy there. But, you know, I don't have a lot of numbers, don't have a lot of stats to back this up. It's just a gut feeling that I liked Baltimore to win this game. This is the type of game that historically Andy Dalton, Marvin Lewis, and the Cincinnati Bengals have lost over the years. I mean, you look back at that Cincinnati game against the Patriots, and everyone was thinking thinking the Patriots were written off after getting blown out of Kansas City, and then they come out and blow the doors off of Cincinnati there. So, again, this is could be a statement game for Andy Dalton and Marvin Lewis, and it probably is. And again, I think they just pee down their leg. I don't think they're going to be able to come through on the road and in a tough place to play in Baltimore, where again they're going to be hungry for a victory, just like the Seahawks are 0-2. And as you mentioned, this is almost a must-win game for them to drop down, for the Ravens to drop down 0-3 in the standings with a divisional loss. It's really like 3.5 games that they're out at that point. They haven't really put it together on offense or defense. They haven't played a complete game yet, as we saw last week in that horrible loss to the Oakland Raiders and that tough loss week 1 against the Denver Broncos. Well, I got to say, I'm out for blood this week. I hope that the Baltimore Ravens win. I hope you lose. We are friends here, but when it becomes between money, that's when the friendship gets over. Of course. But one thing that I think is the most exciting part of this segment of the Gamblin' Ramblins with Mike Gannon is the Stone Cold Lock of the Week. My first lock of the week is Atlanta -1.5 on the road at Jerry's World against the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't see how Atlanta can lose this game. I don't care what the spread is. There's no Romo, there's no Des Bryant, and you add in Brandon Weeden, who has the worst QBR of all qualifying quarterbacks since the year of 2012. I just don't see how that's going to work out. We saw them get a nice notch on the belt, to kind of use that term again, last week on the road against the Giants in a comeback victory for the Atlanta Falcons and Matt Ryan. And when you have Julio Jones on your side, it makes the game so much easier.
I'm actually dying to argue with you about stuff. Really, I am.
Well, I just took your pick from last week and then added it this week, so you can't really disagree with me there.
But Atlanta is a good play this week. It was a good play last week. They may be a good play throughout the year,
Now for Mike's Stone Cold Lock of the Week, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, -1.5 at the St. Louis Rams. Mike, what do you like about Pittsburgh this week?
Well, I just think that Pittsburgh's kind of, on a level, at least offensively, similar to the Pats. To be honest with you, they're kind of rolling right now. They actually had a good game against the Patriots. Roethlisberger throwing for 355, I believe, or something like that. So they just couldn't stay in the game with the Patriots. And then we saw what they did last week to, albeit not a great San Francisco team, but that was, and trust me, I do not like saying this. I do not like Ben Roethlisberger. I do not like Mike Tomlin. I do not like the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? But they are playing well. Defense, a little bit suspect still, but I don't see St. Louis really exploiting that, unfortunately. And St. Louis is tough at home, tough defense. Saw what they did to the Seattle Seahawks. But I just think offensively, Pittsburgh has too many weapons, especially with Le'Veon Bell coming back. Not that D'Angelo Williams didn't do a great job for them. Like I said, I picked him up in fantasy on a couple of teams. He helped me those first 2 weeks. Now
touchdowns last week.
Sure. Now I got to put him back on the bench, obviously. Yeah. But Le'Veon Bell coming back, Antonio Brown, besides Julio Jones, the best wide receiver in the league. Marcus Wheaton has done some stuff for them with Martavius Bryant out. And, just wait till they get him back in week 4,
You're even seeing Heath Miller, a little bit of a renaissance with him, kind of getting looking like shades from 2004 Heath Miller.
Yeah, so you put all that stuff together, and I just really like this game. Again, another road team. It's kind of funny. I've done 3 more road teams.
You are the road warrior. Worked out for you last week. Yeah. Not so much in my favor this week.
But I actually just kind of realized that. Hadn't even really paid attention to that. But, at 1.5 points is what I have today. I definitely see Pittsburgh being at least a field goal, if not more, better than St. Louis this week. So,
but that just about wraps it up here for the Free Range Sports Press presents Gamblin' Ramblins with Mike Gannon. And this Sunday, we hope to see you all down there. Mike, little finishing thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. Had a great Sunday last week. I know that, the Bills game was a much anticipated game, but had a great week here at Kelly's. A lot of people here, a lot of fun. We do the squares for the Patriots game and this and that. So come on down. We're doing specials this week. We have Bud Light here for the second half of the Patriots game this week, giving away stuff. And so it should be a fun day. So hope to see you guys down here at Kelly's on Main Sunday, 1 o'clock.
And we hope you enjoyed the Gamblin' Ramblins with Mike Gannon. We gave you 7 picks. Hopefully we gave you 7 winners. To my left is Mike Gannon. I am Wesley Sykes, and may the odds and the football gods be ever in your favor.